Cool. Let's get into it. Let me get the footage up. All right. Starting us off is Austin and Duncan. We got Rush, a new visiting student, and Steven, you're over there on the side. Me and Kurt. And then Danny and Jason front and center. Just want to look at... Oh, okay, cool. So right off the bat, we see Duncan working a closed guard break. He gets up, but Austin, with his long legs, closes the guard as Duncan's getting up. Goes in for the double ankle sweep. Looks like Austin is able to hike his legs out before Duncan can pinch on it, but he still gets up and around and gets the pass. Good example of, you know, not accepting falling to your butt as the lesser position in that case. But of course, Austin turns it into a funky triangle. And did Austin get that? Looks like he... Okay, so he was doing what Danny loves to do here, which set up the reverse triangle and attack a toe hold, right? And he and I were talking about this the other day. Like, the cool thing about this is, we were talking about it from Austin being on his back and dealing with this. So the case is a little different here since he's in the mounted position. But you can attack the toe hold while you have that control. And a lot of times, if you think about it, guys are going to do is they're, going to try to plant or posture or control your hips and try to turn into a way that's advantageous for them where they're not getting strangled. When you start attacking their ankles and they get their free leg into that grip break that you have on the toe hold, a lot of times that means they have to plant their hands on the floor to stay balanced. Otherwise they get rolled or whatever. So all of a sudden they get their hands off of you. They're not attacking, your legs and the integrity of your triangle. They're trying to stay based. So you can work those two threats in conjunction with each other and get one fairly easily. We've seen Danny get the toe hold a bunch of times from there. Nice little head and arm throw from Danny. And Rush over here on the side with Steven. This was his first class with us, and he puts on a hell of a top pressure. Definitely solid work pinning. What did I get on Kurt here? Outside trip, pick the leg up. Cool. Jason being real heavy on the head here. Gotta use that posture control for setups. You can't just, it's one thing, there's something to say about like hanging your weight on somebody's neck and on their back and like tiring them out, especially if you have like a really long round or something, if you're in like a competition. But use that, get them moving, get them off balance. A good snap down is an integral part of, or can be an integral part of any successful setup. Good job from Duncan, trying to get around Austin's frames here. Danny will take you down in the back. Let's see it. Oh yeah. Yeah, so he pulled you and then kept you going. Let's see if we can get it in slow-mo. So big step from you, your trailing leg comes up, and he just doesn't allow you to plant it. So you kind of... I think maybe you were actually getting to take another step to maybe square up with him here. And you got... Okay, he got behind your knee, and then you couldn't brace on it. Solid break fall. Your head didn't bounce off the mat, and frankly, that's all I care about with a takedown like that. But yeah, Daniel's sneaky, man. He will get you moving and keep you moving. Good over-under from Danny there. Got behind the head and controlled the base arm with the overhook. Oh, Steven, is this where you got yelled at for almost knee barring our new guest? He's riding real high on you. He's got your elbows up around your shoulder line. Miserable spot to be. And then here, let's see if you go for a kipping escape, maybe. Yeah, a little slow. In on the leg. I think this is where Luke was like, no, no, no. So much going on here. Right before the buzzer. Oh, it's straight ankle. Okay, okay. So, Brandon, it looks like you were dealing with Daniel's pressure pretty well. You get behind him here briefly. Now you're up into this dogfight. And Austin's on a... Looked like a tight triangle. There we go. Nice. That was solid, Austin. Good example. Yeah, he's absurdly agile. It's so annoying. So Austin here gets Duncan in a triangle, and Duncan starts, trying to get his posture back, but here he starts to stack. And we've talked a bit about, the fact that once you get comfortable with the triangle, you're not too concerned about being stacked anymore. And here we can see it's playing into Austin's, it makes his triangle much tighter, right? He immediately adjusts his legs. Now as Duncan stands, he's leaving his legs open. He's way overextended, so Austin just gets to roll him right over. And here, I mean, his triangle's so deep. His hips are already behind Duncan's tricep here. So it's a little bit of a turn, and if Austin wanted to, he could have attacked the arm as well. But you could see Austin just puts on a little bit of a torque. I really like that. Like, just torques his body around the corner to put on the last little bit of pressure that he needs. And gets the tap. Jason trying to work this body lock pass. So he's got the one leg. He doesn't have it quite as trapped as he'd like it. Okay, now he's in a half guard. Good. So see how Jason's fighting out of that half guard? We've talked about this a little bit recently. He pulls his heel to his butt, and he's just pummeling his leg out. Let me slow it down. So as Danny hits this lockdown, extends Jason's leg out. Jason just pulls his knee up, flares his leg out. Does it a few times, right? He's going to have to probably fight this a lot. Danny's going to want to try to reconnect as he can. Danny's trying to elevate him with that. What did I get Kurt in here? Oh, it was just a strangle. Okay. Yes, Jason's got to get that leg free. Ah, nice. It looks like. Oh wow. Okay, I think Danny had an arm triangle from the bottom here. I didn't see him sneak that in. Typical Danny. So he gets the right there. Yeah, he gets his arm triangle. Uses it for a sweep here. Danny's probably the only one I think that I like have faith in who could probably finish it from the bottom, just because that's like one of his best moves or best submissions. What's up, Caleb? How you doing, man? But here he uses it as a way to sweep Jason, right? He gets that butterfly hook in on the far side. Jason has no base up at the top on his right side. So we'll watch Danny pummel his leg in. He gets the hook, keeps that knee nice and high, takes him right over. Danny powers off that back leg. And before Jason even was on his back, Danny was in super deep on that. Really solid finish. Steven, you're behind the pillar. Bummed I couldn't see it. I only heard the aftermath of it. Caleb chucking white belts around. So this was my first roll with Rush, which is always fun. It's like a competition when you don't know who you're going against, except you're not trying to kill each other for a shitty cheap metal, and you get to just kind of see how your game stacks up against somebody else. And he immediately, he pulls guard, starts working from a bottom position, and here he had my leg caught, and I was just looking to stay heavy on him, get my leg free, and square back up. He actually kind of sneaks like out the back a little bit as I try to start climbing up, but when he does that, see, he plants his this is kind of like I don't really want to call it like it's not a clamp guard, but it's kind of like I've gone to that side scissor position we talked about. What's up, James? The side scissor we talked about in closed guard week, but I'm really high. I mean, my hips are like all the way up by his shoulder line. But when he plants his hand to pressure into me to put me back, it gives me all the room I need to throw up my leg for a triangle. I clamped down pretty hard on it. I didn't send it home. I think he postures up pretty well. It made it difficult for me to get the level of traction I would have liked to have had. So I wasn't going to try to crank too hard on it. So Brandon doing well, putting up a good knee shield. That top pressure from Caleb can really suck. Look at Danny giving Jason the rundown on how he finished that. What happened with... Oh. We just got too close to the boys. Austin in on almost on an arm and guillotine. So yeah, Rush was really laying on some heavy pressure here, making it difficult for me to really escape the way I like to escape. He was hiding his legs extremely well. You can see him trying to fish for that near ankle, which I like to do. And then just constantly like fighting my frames, switching to the other side. Just as soon as I make progress, I was honestly getting a little impatient and kind of pissed off that I couldn't like get my leg in and start getting to guard. So rather than turning into him as much as I usually do with people, I opted to start turning away. It was strategic. I was like, all right, I can, if he takes my back, I know I have confidence in my back escapes. So we'll let him advance position, but I can escape and then maybe attack something when he transitions to mount. You know, attack something cheeky when he's on my back. Just see what happens. So, am I right? Yeah. So I go from here facing him and I say, all right, let's start turning away. I'm just playing a pretty tight game without letting him get my arms isolated from my body. Let's go back with Brandon and Caleb here for a second. Brandon getting up to Kesa. It's a dangerous spot, Brandon. Just because things like that happen. If you don't have really good control over the arm, not Caleb's left arm here, but his right arm, eventually once he pops his head out, it doesn't matter. Yeah, like even you see it right there, right? Your right hand is on the mat rather than hugging under the head and controlling like his tricep or, you know, pulling it up or whatever. So once you put that hand down, you give him all the room he needs to like bump you forward, sneak his head out the back, and now he's on your back. But it looked like he didn't chase too hard for it. Just letting you work. Something that I meant to call out at class yesterday, but it honestly applies to no-gi more. This grip that Caleb has on the ankle. I see you guys getting way too comfortable with this, and it's the most simple grip to break, right? Everybody has trouble breaking grips like when we're in gi and they're you know, holding on with all they've got on your cloth. Like, that's a tough grip to break. A hook is not at all. If Brandon reaches down with the same side hand, does the same grip on Caleb's wrist here, and just pulls it up, his leg's free. But as long as he's letting that stay there, look at what Caleb's doing. First off, don't ever look into the camera again. Second, he's chopping at the far leg. Well, we'll see what he does. But I know he's got a leg up on the hip. He's blocking the secondary leg, so that means Brandon's two legs are trapped, and he's getting pushed at the hip. That's a tripod sweep. Get that arm off of you, or get the hand off of you, and now you've got a leg to balance on, and that doesn't matter anymore. So you can see Caleb's being real nice here. If I was in there, he would be pushing my knee backwards and doing all sorts of nasty shit to get me down. But it's an easy grip to break that allows you to, you know, fight a lot longer from that standing open guard position. You must, man. That's the only way he can keep that grip. Doesn't work on me though. What did Kurt get here? Oh, just a really nice torqued up Americana. When I got my elbow popped in competition, it was from an Americana like this, where the elbow is way up off the mat. The elbow's in, like, Austin's elbow is up here in front of him. Normally we see Americanas done where the elbow is in like the plane of the back and then brought down and lifted up. This is not, I mean, like, this probably hurts on the shoulder, but like the UCL, like the tendon that like pitchers blow out, right? And they have to get Tommy Johns. Like, all that stress goes right through that joint, and that's not a terribly strong tendon. So, I mean, Austin's young and bendy, so he's probably, I'm sure he's fine. But I wouldn't hold on too long to those if you can help it. So one thing I got to practice a lot with Rush, considering his relentless top pressure, is a lot of kipping escapes from mount. Let's just look back real quick. So he's on my back here. He's got his ankles crossed up. I give him a little reminder not to cross his ankles. Right here, he kicks out of that and doesn't let me get it. But I kick that bottom leg off of me, pull my knee up through the middle. Let's look at it in slow-mo. So my top leg is coming over, attacking his bottom leg and stepping on it so that I can pull my knee up. That allows me to move my hips, trying to get my hips out over his leg, but he recovers. But he takes me over to the other side, so I switch my hips to in the opposite direction. And of course that initiates a scramble, right? He's gonna look to salvage the back, or salvage control by leaving back control, getting into mount. From there, he stays really heavy. I had a feeling he would, because he was just pinning me like he was 300 pounds. And so he rides up really, he rides up high. His shoulders are low. All of his weight's like on my chest, my shoulders, my head. That leaves his hips really light, so I can start working my kipping escape and then enter into the legs once I get my legs up through. Didn't work for very long. He ended up passing again, but great opportunity to work on that escape just without controlling. He was being Caleb on the backside, 50-50. Making Brandon come back. Oh yeah, and then from here, so once Rush recovers, he gets on my back again, but he doesn't have control over my shoulders, so I sit up and I attack a knee bar here, just stretched out enough. So that's pretty much in summary a strategy of like going to a place where I felt comfortable in my escaping and attacking, escaping to a submission threat. I wasn't doing hot on my back when he was in side control, so it was let him advance position, try to work something from a spot that I'm better at. Not the greatest strategy for competition, if you care about having points scored against you. Caleb, I like seeing you rolling through on all these leg entanglements. And for to Brandon's credit here, it seems like you're starting to understand legs defensively, which way to roll, when to roll certain ways, when to not, as far as like heel exposure is concerned. And even if Caleb had a heel exposed and locked up, I don't think he'd let you roll the wrong way. But really, really good progress. Nice try on that double. Is that the one we were talking about, Steven? Where you shot in on him and he just sprawled super heavy on you? No problem, mijo. Let's see. I mean, I guess this applies to open guard. Really, maybe more side control and stuff. Just in my role with Brandon here up at the top of the screen, I just want you guys to pay attention to my leg position and my knee position and my sprawl. As I'm going around Brandon here, I'm staying I'm staying as heavy as I possibly can be on him by keeping my knees off the ground, right? Big hop around, but notice at no point do you see my knees really on the ground. My chest is fully behind his tricep, so I'm trying to wedge him up to keep him from turning back into me. That gives me back exposure and something to work with. Whether or not I get it, I don't remember. But I noticed yesterday when we were doing like double unders, the double under pass, a lot of times, you know, guys will put their knees down, they'll shrug the leg by, all that stuff. It's not bad. Against a more advanced opponent, it may be a little too lazy for them to fully control from there. So being able to sprawl heavy and keep as much weight on them as possible can make can make some of your passes more successful. You do that by keeping your knees off of the ground when you're doing that. So here, I'm wrapping up until, like, you don't see my knee touching the ground until I'm ready to take the back, right? So I pull my leg in, I get behind Brandon, do all the stuff for the back take that I like to do. But the whole time I had to make sure that Brandon, who's significantly bigger than me, couldn't spin back into me and hide his back on the mat. Jason on Duncan's back here. So let's see how Cole. Good, really good. So Cole had to contend with Steven's lockdown here. Is that a lockdown? Lockdown would be the other way with the outside leg coming over. Right? Yeah, outside leg coming over. So a little bit easier to break open there. This is kind of like, so like, wait, am I all messed up? No, yeah, so Steven, something that would be maybe a little bit more secure, and maybe hold Cole off for a few more seconds, switching your leg position to where your outside leg, this leg, is coming over top of the leg, and then you figure four, and then you set up your lockdown. I'm pretty sure, yeah, if I think about doing it, it's my outside leg that comes over, not the inside leg going out and over. But Cole does the right thing here, gets his foot wedge in, starts prying open and extracting. And we saw that, I think we went over that in class, or at least that type of move in getting out of either the knee cut pass or the knee staple. Probably the knee staple. The knee cut's more of a push out with your foot as opposed to the foot wedge. So, but Jason was just in. So Jason was on Duncan's back. What happened here? Okay, so it looks like Duncan just slowly maybe worked his way into misalignment. Jason had to transition. Danny doing a much better job than I was at keeping his knees in between him and Rush. Nice job taking him over, getting on his back. Gets the tap. Solid. So yes, Steven, this is more of a proper lockdown. But even so, your ankle, if you're trying to lock him down here, yeah, this is better. I wanted to see this foot starting to travel down, straighten out. And you maybe already know this. I mean, maybe there are people watching who aren't familiar with the lockdown. But it's a great way to get shoulder pressure off of you. And Cole certainly loves some of that top pressure game. So sometimes it's essential. Nice escape out the back. Alright, Jason. So Jason's working from mount here. He's gotten to a great spot with Duncan's arm crossed up, his elbow really high. He could either switch his head here. It's like he's almost going to do it. But I would switch the head here. And, well, you're in so deep on this that you may as well just work the gift wrap to the back take. Just keep in mind the move Danny was just showing you before, right? The arm triangle or katagatame. As a great option, which can, if it's defended, lead to a back take as well. But I love the gift wrap as much as anybody, so go for it if you're that deep on it. Steven, you look like you're about to rip Cole's arm off here. Jesus, I would have screamed. There's Cole working too. So this is like when DeBlas was visiting us, this was like a similar position to the question I was asking him as far as like what to do with your overhook arm when you're fighting out a bottom half control or bottom half guard. Here Cole is kind of in like a neutral zone between a tight waist and a lat grip. Choice words, but no more tap. Yeah, it sounds like Cole. He's also opting to use his inside leg as his hook instead of switching to the outside. Works for some people, not so much for myself. But as he's coming up here, he's going to have to worry about Darce attacks, what else? Heavy whizzers, things like that. A nice high grip to here will make whizzering and Darces very difficult. Doesn't offer as much control over the hips, I feel like, but it might give you what you need to get up and work to like, a knee tap double or something like that. Or if he doesn't whizzer on you, a nice heavy shrug to take the back. None of those things are what I said would happen. Danny gets the 5-finger guillotine threat. Nice. Duncan in close guard. Let's see what he does about it. Standing guard break. Double ankle. Pummels his leg out. Working to get the knee down. Staples the knee. Starts working his pass. Fuck yeah. That's what I want. See it one more time. So he gets the inside bicep ties. I mean, this is like textbook. Gets his inside bicep ties, making it very difficult for Jason to grip on the back of the neck. So he can get his posture back, brings his head over Jason's head, jumps up to a nice square stance, or steps up, which is fine too. Postures up. Jason opens his legs here because he wants to go for the double ankle sweep. It's pretty much essential that you do that. Duncan stays put because he knows how to stay balanced. His head's a little on, well, it's hard to tell from the camera angle. The fact that he pummels his leg out and away from Jason's hook tells me that he's got much more weight on this leg than that leg, so he can make it more mobile. Gets it back out of Jason's reach, pushes that knee down with every intention of bringing his own knee over top and stapling it to the mat. And now he's got to get around this knee shield that's almost, it's barely in. Nice. That was rad, man. I've watched so many people, of course, because we all have, struggle with the standing guard break, and that's what it looks like. It goes from just losing and losing and losing to making little progress through the steps, and then to getting it in a choppy kind of way. You're remembering everything, you're getting through it, fighting through it, and then eventually you're just like breaking it open and moving, breaking it open and passing, getting put down and surviving and attacking. Like, that was awesome, man. Man, solid end to the round. Oh, Steven, this is the round where we had that super fun exchange. Oh, Brandon. All right, let's look at this takedown. Let's see this setup here. Really good. Okay, so this is great. So let's look at the... All right, you're against Danny here. Heavy on the head, walking him back. As you shoot in on this, you're keeping your head on the inside. It looks like you're going for a single here. You're a little straight on. Not that big of a deal though. Pull the leg into you. You're driving through him as you do it to make the target leg really light. Danny can't like base forward onto it to make it heavy. See, he pummels to the outside. What do you do about it? Okay, you repummel, get it up the middle. And give him some pressure backwards. Nice, man. Really nice. What happened there? So he gets the shoulder crunch on you. Oh, and then you guys just move. So I was trying so hard to get around your knee shield here, Steven. And I think I hit like a quick turn around the corner once I get the knee elbow connection. Oh, okay, that's right. Never mind. I want to look at this a little slower. So I step my leg out, quick step around, kind of sliding through. And then I just couldn't beat your elbow frame. You do a nice shoulder push here, but I spin around into the knee bar. Which I thought I had until you started attacking me. And then it was just a matter... Oh, man. My bad. Here we go. So you started attacking me. And then I managed to find your heel, hide your toes. And I was trying to get to the revert, like the rear naked choke grip on the heel. But I could only get as far as the wrist to wrist. Which I think you'll agree is pretty tight. And then get the outside heel, or sorry, the inside heel hook from 50-50. So we got Daniel and Caleb up top too. Should be a good match. Brandon, you're doing a solid job here, giving Danny a lot of top pressure. So right there, I think you could control this a little bit better, Brandon. You've got the headlock, which is great. You can use that if you switch to like a chin strap grip. You can use that 5-finger guillotine threat you've been hearing us talk about a lot. But your arm, I would try to pummel. Give Danny trouble here. Don't just relinquish the underhook like this. Try to pummel to your own underhook and curl him back over, get his shoulders flat to the mat. You'll probably want to pull this knee up towards his armpit as you do that to just settle into your side control. But I think Danny got the jump on you here with the underhook. Probably plants his legs and can start pressuring up into you. Yeah. What did Daniel do? Daniel's just on a gnarly little guillotine there. Kurt with the rear naked. What's Danny got? Yeah, so, okay. Danny, I think Danny has set up a reverse triangle from here. Yeah, that must have been what it was. It was hard to see. So let's take a look at this single from Brandon against Kurt over here by the wall. So looks like Kurt's in on an Uchimata. I don't know if he's just letting Brandon work or if there's some hesitation here about hitting it. Brandon's hips are kind of back here. Kurt would really have to, I feel like he'd really have to send this, like bring his head to the mat, lift his inside leg, his right leg up real high to initiate the Uchimata here. I like Brandon switching down to the body lock. Could have run behind there probably, but Kurt got the best of him before he could. And then Kurt setting up this head and arm control, taking him up and over. Securing top position. Well, almost securing top position. Look at Danny when he shoots this this double on Brandon here up by the pillar. So he's fairly straight on right now, but immediately starts cutting his angle as Brandon goes back with the front headlock, or at least with the left arm in on a front headlock. Danny immediately starts cutting to the cross side to keep himself safe, controlling the legs the whole time. Not letting those legs go until he gets past them, making it really difficult for Brandon to re-guard. Which it seems like a small detail, but I think a lot of people, you know, they get a takedown and they maybe want to like climb up the body really fast, or they you know, let go of their grips when really, if they hang on for another second or two and use them, that you can actually secure the position much better than just getting overzealous. And though it was unsuccessful, Caleb, I'll point it out for you. My roll against Steven here, just another cross Ashigarami entry. So I'm in the butterfly half. I dig in deep on the near leg, the leg that I'm facing. And I'm just inverting and turning over, leaving my inside leg in, trying to scoop behind. I don't get to the scoop fast enough, and Steven shuts it down. But just like we were talking about yesterday, it's one more entrance into a cross ashi that you can look for, especially since you work that deep half a lot, or at least you have been lately. you can switch into that pretty easily. Add that into your arsenal. No problem, man. And now just watch me try to stay away from you as long as I can. Let's look at Cole. Who's this? Cole and Duncan, I think. So Cole with the double overs. And using that to roll into a mount position. Sweet. Russian Kurt right up front. Yeah. I remember this one. How could I forget? We'll look at it and because you set up your overhook, yeah, pretty soon I thought. Let's go back and look at Rush and Kurt real quick. A little exchange here that I missed. Rush playing a kind of a loose bottom half guard here. I like what Kurt's doing and trying to get Rush's knees pointed away. I'm going to assume his elbow is a little bit outside Rush's leg here, which he doesn't want. He wants to make that knee elbow connection on the inside. And ideally, he wouldn't want Rush hooking this leg and pointing his knees, right? Rush is still in control here, which is why Kurt gets taken over. Getting elevated. Let's see. Nice coming up on the single leg. Solid sweep. Yeah, I pretty much know, Caleb, as soon as you get that overhook, I'm kind of screwed. I care a lot less about your underhook and a lot more about your overhook. That's why I'm always trying to pummel my underhook back in front of your body so much more than I'm trying to like get anything else away. I forgot it was done off this little like it was a counter. So I go for the inside trip. Yeah. This is cool. So your leg is posted up right outside my leg. Nice little sacrifice from you. Slanging me over. Look at it full speed. Yeah. And then there was no chance I was going to reverse this either. You get like right when we land. I think you and I were chatting about this too. When you guys initiate throws, like they're sweet, they look awesome, but the problem comes in where you land and how your spines are aligned. So right now there's no way I'm rolling Caleb here, but if Caleb had landed more parallel to me and this was my spine, I have a chance for a reroll. Regardless of weight difference, size, momentum is what's important here. If Caleb was still barreling into me at the tail end of the throw, but he was closer to me, I could get a reroll out of this. But because he keeps his hips far away from my hips and a nice tight connection up at the top, there's no way in hell I'm going to roll out of that. And then he tries to sneak up really quick. I was able to get my frame in under the hip, which was, maybe my only saving grace here. But spoiler alert, I don't get out of this. Which is why I hate it when you take top position. All right, so for Rush here, he's in a bit of a predicament with Kurt's half guard. So is mine because you started the throw. Oh, yeah. Whatever. All right, whatever. So with Rush here, what he's got to worry about is getting out of this lockdown. We've talked a lot about that, just as far as like how you can combat this, bringing the heel to the butt, flipping the leg out, or using your free leg to push on the lock of the lockdown to at least get your knee free. And then you can work from that knee staple position we went over in class, and advance your spot from there. But right now, Kurt's he's either gonna keep Rush from advancing as long as Rush's knee is trapped, or he can use the lockdown to pull Rush's hips over him, start attacking the far leg. If he wants to go to deep half, he could attack the near leg on looks like it's what he's trying to do here, attacking it on calf slicers, things like that. But as he's coming up to attack that, let's see what happens. So Rush gets behind him, and all of a sudden that trapped leg is less of a threat for Rush and more of an advantage in that it's a hook. So if he can bring his knee, which he will, if he can bring his knee close to Kurt and circle around the back, he's just in on back control at this point. Kurt doing a good job stepping over. There we go. Pinning the leg, trying to sneak the hips out. So Rush is staying nice. He's staying really tight on him and preventing Kurt from getting that inside elbow to the ground. He's staying wedged up behind his back. So while Rush didn't transition into mount against Kurt like he did against me, he's keeping Kurt's back exposed, probably biding his time until he can securely get a hook in and get back to the position he wants. Just because I'm thinking about it, for anybody who's yelling at me right now because I'm gripping Caleb's arm instead of framing and pushing away, and I've yelled at you for maybe doing that in the past. Big reason I'm doing it right now is Caleb is digging on my far side arm, trying to flatten it to the mat, either work an Americana, a straight arm, Kimura, or just work through that whole series of moves. In order to do that, though, he needs that cross-facing arm to come out, either by pulling it out and taking it over or slipping that elbow over my head. I'm trying my best to, pummel, keep my wrist away, keep him from being able to pin it. But I know if he lifts his chest up, sneaks that head or sneaks the arm over my head, I'm going to have his two hands fighting against my one. So I'm doing what I can to prevent him from getting that arm out until I can feel safe that I'm getting my isolated arm back close to my body. And honestly, that's such a constant battle between you and I, Caleb. I feel like once you get to cross side, I'm like, all right, I really, really got to keep my arm safe now. Brooke putting in work. What does she do? How is this set up? Does Austin take a shot here? Austin in on the double, but couldn't quite get to the angle in time to beat Brooke's sprawl. And Brooke's not having that. Cracks his hip down. Oh, she's just being nice to you now, man. Letting you back up. Okay, cool. You guys are going over the double. or the sprawl, maybe. I don't know. What is Rush in on? Oh, okay, so he's like in a back crucifix position. All right, that was the round. So this was not exactly like beautiful technique here. More of a pain compliance thing that Luke does to me every once in a while. But you can see I switched from this collar and wrist grip to where I'm looking into Austin, like looking across Austin's head, using my forehead to pressure in with a clinch and just kind of slinging him down. Not the nicest technique, but he was laughing, so I felt okay about it. Right, Cole and Jason. Old husky eye Jason, according to Luke. What weird thing did I just do with him? Oh, okay. Austin initiates a roll. I try to roll with him. And claw my way back to back control. Which I don't think I got right away. Caleb, I didn't get to see much of your roll with Rush. How was it? Did he give you the same hard pressure he was giving me? One thing he was especially good at was like just his hip mobility, like with hip switching, not letting you get your legs too tangled up with him to, like, you know, enter legs and stuff. At least not from like that top position where he's a bit more mobile. Jason working his way through top half guard here. All right, so Jason, you were so close here. I really like what you were working though. So you've got that leg in. It's gonna stay in as a hook, like you haven't stepped it out. You can step it out, remember, and just like work a body triangle because you're on your way to back. But again, little detail here. That knee scooted up behind Cole a little bit, but not enough really. I really want to see you try to get it up behind his head before you sit. It's close to the back. You're playing real tight, which is great. But I want to see it a little bit higher towards his head. That way, what you're doing when you do that is you're bringing your hips a little bit closer to his shoulder line. You don't want to be like at his shoulders, but you want your hips to be north of his. Then you could just sit to your butt without doing too much pulling up into place, but you could sit to your butt and then fall to your left side, or fall to the side that has the hook in. Because you kind of pulled him and went backwards with it here, you guys land a little misaligned, so it's going to be really hard to start immediately attacking strangles, which is what you want. You don't want to have to work too hard from here, right? Cole's halfway out of back control now. So next time you're working that like modified mount into the back control, focus on that knee placement behind the head, and that should help you a lot by the time you get there. Now you've recovered a bit more. It looks like you're still trying to, but yeah, see, now you haven't even had an opportunity to attack the back before having to switch to mount because you were losing it. Good, I'm glad. And yeah, as far as Russ is concerned, I don't know. I told him about what we do here on the stream, so maybe he'll watch it, maybe he won't. But like, I mean, I've complimented him relentlessly on the amount of wrestling and pressure he uses. The next thing he's got to do from here, I'm curious what the rest of his top game is. Just because I didn't feel too many immediate submission threats. No doubt he has them. I mean, he's competitive blue belt. He's been doing this a few years. I know he knows how to submit people. But feeling out like maybe what some of his go-to subs are, ways that he isolates. Remember, we pin first, we control first, then we look to isolate limbs, then we look to break them. I didn't quite feel like we were getting as far into limb isolation or neck isolation as we could have, given his level of control. So that'll be the next big surprise from him, is seeing what sort of subs he throws at us. Steven being so kind, not breaking Brandon's knee. Jason getting nasty with the the muffling and the face covering here. I like it. And Jason, this is where it seems like you have the entrances to the back, like a good understanding. You know, you're practicing your execution and everything. The next thing that you're going to focus on, or the next thing I'd like to see you focus on, is the hand fighting game. There's the spamming way to do it that Luke loves to do, where you just have two strangle hands and you're switching and switching and switching and switching. It works. He gets me in that all the time. Another way is like, the straight jacket method we talk about, where you're like leg trapping and controlling the arms. Cole's gonna play his arms really high like that and make it damn near impossible to get strangles. You can't strangle a guy who defends like this. So you really, and when he's doing this, it's also really hard to use that spamming strangling method because his face is covered. He doesn't have to worry about the bridge of his nose getting bashed in from a crossface or something. So you might want to start practicing the straight jacket method of arm trapping and all that fun stuff, which we can go over whenever you want. Always happy to talk about that stuff. But that way, I mean, you worked so hard to get here. You got a body triangle on Cole. He's not getting out of the back control right now, or at least not anytime soon. So now you got to work on those finishing details. Oh, Stephen and Caleb up top. The shoulder attack on Cole when you rolled with him earlier, and I said I would have screamed. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, when my straitjacket attempt starts, not when it starts failing, but when it's just like beginning to like, or when it's becoming too much and like I'm just not making progress. When when to that end, Cole is putting himself in a spot here where if I can get a leg over a shoulder and I keep his arm elevated and I can work to a rear triangle. That's a lot of boxes to check. But when I'm in a rear triangle, the number one thing I want to focus on doing is getting the arm that's trapped in the triangle up above the head, right? So he's already put it there for me. So what if I keep it there and then work my way to the rear triangle, right? If that starts failing, because maybe he brings a hand down or he starts bringing both hands down, I can try to work back to my straitjacket or my strangle spamming method or whatever. But when he gets the hands high, I can switch to one thing. When he gets the hands low in defense of that, I can switch back to the other. And that gives you a much better way to, untie that knot without just like trying to do the same thing over and over again and becoming very predictable. Oh yeah, real quick with Austin, because we talked about this. Yeah, he had me in a reverse triangle here, and I actually was just trying something I'd never tried before to get out of this. This is the only time I've looked back on it yet. So with the reverse triangle, we've mentioned some of the details in the past about this one. Austin really wants to get this knee below my ear. And that's when the reverse triangle just gets crazy tight. In order to do that, we often advise like a body lock grip. So he would sneak his left arm under my hips, come up and around and try to like circle up on my body to control my hips, where he can briefly unlock his legs, shift his hips, and then relock his triangle. So Austin, if you're watching this or whenever you do, that's what I was talking about as far as like having faith in the body lock grip. But what I started doing here was like, I know that you need to get your knee below my ear. So I start turning my head towards the left to try to get your knee further behind my head. And I augment that by stepping over and getting to like a mounted position facing the other way. I'm not even really trying to set up a reverse triangle on him. I'm just trying to keep his knee from getting below my ear. And once I start facing this way enough, I feel like this hand can start to work on untying that triangle, right? Bringing his leg across, making the grip of the triangle a little bit weaker. Kind of like how we break down body triangles in the close guard. I don't know if I can't remember. Okay, yeah, I did get my hand on it. But now I'm like completely facing the other way. I got my leg underneath him. I'm feeling fairly comfortable here, all things considered. And then once you're out, that was cool. It was like an opportunity to go right into a cross ashi. Write that one down, Caleb. Put yourself in a body in a reverse triangle. Bait the reverse triangle so that you can enter into a cross ashi. It's a terrible strategy. I better never see you doing that. That's what Austin and I were talking about here. Maybe I want to go back and see that. The answer to that, though, for Austin is Austin and I were actually talking about this on the side, but using the reverse triangle and the toe hold threat in conjunction with each other, because everything that I did there, it required me to like base my hands in order to cut my angle, and it required the use of my hand to open up that triangle. If I want to get out of that toe hold, like I said earlier, I've got to use my legs, my free leg, to kick free, and in order to do that, I need to base out. Either that or I'm like flattened out, which I absolutely don't want to be. But I need to base out, and then I can like articulate my legs a little bit better. So my hands being based out means that he doesn't lose his triangle on my head. And you could see the whole dilemma that I work myself into when he's or that he works me into when he's attacking both of those things. Yeah, don't ever do that with him or Danny. Oh, and this is the roll where, yeah, I think that was the takedown, where Brooke and I had our little throw battle here. One more time. So Brooks doing that like arm throw, like the rear naked choke grip on the shoulder. I can already tell what I don't like about it when I tried it just now. I'm standing way too far in front of her. I need to get my legs. Man, she could have thrown me so hard right here if she pulled the trigger first. But if I could have been straddling her leg, like from the outside, I think I would have done much better with this throw. Who cares if her face hit? It's not my face. But instead, since I'm in front of her, I mean, I got her over, but like, I feel like that's going to take a lot of torque. Nah, her face didn't hit. She based out with her other arm. I mean, the time I Russian tied her through the second floor of this building, nothing will beat that face plant. Yeah, now we're going over it again. Okay. Why am I still in slow-mo? There we go. Steven and Caleb, do you guys even hit the mat in this round? I feel like when I was cutting the footage together, I don't think I saw you guys even go to the ground at any point. Once, okay. We got Austin and Rush. Nasty little ankle lock. I missed the... Beautiful. One more time. This launches you through the window. That's nice. Nice counter. So Brooke just wrestles the shit out of me off screen here the rest of the time. So I don't think we're going to see any of that. But I pretty much spend the rest of that round on defense. Rush doing a good job switching sides and at least briefly getting back exposure. Seems like he's really fighting for it. I'm glad to see everybody else has trouble keeping Cole's leg in half guard or in lockdown or whatever. Like it's like if he wants to get it out, he's gonna get it out. And in fact, I don't know. This round may not have been the best because it looked like he didn't fight too hard on it. We talked about this a little bit during class when we were going over the knee staple move, which Cole is in right now. When you use that foot wedge like he's doing, if your hips are real low, your shoelaces of this foot are most likely, like, they're gonna hit the thigh. They're gonna hit a lot closer to the hip where you don't really have any leverage. If you're going against somebody with like really long limbs, right, they got long legs or something, it can benefit you to hike your hips up, like kind of like into almost like a tripod position, where your head is on the mat. You're really applying pressure at the head and the shoulders. You don't want to be light. You're not bracing on your arms. Your head is to the mat. Your hips are high up in the air, and then you can easily or more easily find the inside of the knee with that foot wedge. So if you guys feel like you're having trouble, maybe you're landing too low, low meaning close to the hip, not close to the knee, try to get your hips up and really focus on staying heavy on them. This is the last round. Alright, so something I'm doing here with Rush. A bit. So I use the headlock a lot of times, really just to drag the guy down, either to a 4-point position or to a turtle position, and then work go behinds and back takes from there. So you could see, I think like sitting through and like we saw Kurt earlier with the head and arm. I think on Brandon, he sits through, tosses the guy over. That's great, especially if you can roll through, come up into mount, and get a guillotine, a la Gordon Ryan versus Kina Cornelius. It's a great move. I can't say that it's like the most controlled move, right? So I tend to opt to this position, right? Well, not exactly this position, but I get to the front headlock and I start to work a go behind. My right leg is closest, so that's why it's kind of leading the way. I'm blocking Rush's left arm here from reaching up and blocking my waist. If you just kind of like try to fly behind the guy and they block, it's extremely easy for them to just flip you over and put you right on your back. So I take a big step around, put my knee in behind his tricep to block. I switch my arm here from the near side on the waist to the far side. I may have locked my grip up here. I don't remember. And then I believe I take my left arm from the far side around the head to the near side. There we go. Made the switch there. And then now you can tell I don't have a back take here just yet, right? I need to get my right hook all the way over to hook the other side before I'm anywhere near having like points for a back take, let alone any control over his lower body. So I switch my legs, and like I've talked about during our rear mount sessions, I lead in underneath his body with my knee. I'm not trying to reach my foot in. I'm not trying to pull him up and swing my leg inside. I'm pressuring my knee in towards his hip. And that's what gets me the initiation on the near side hook. So you can see where my, like, you kind of tell which way my shin is pointing, right? Inside towards his hip. I don't even know if I ended up finishing this back take or not. I think I maybe did. I start sagging heavy on the head. As he turns, I get my top hook in because it's easy, right? There's nothing impeding my leg. But now that his hip and knee are off the ground, I can get my bottom hook in and over as well. He beats me to it there, so it's a little bit of a fight for a second. But I'm in on the back at that point. So I went from front headlock, snapping down to the mat. I did a knee block go behind, where I used my knee to block his arm from reaching up and blocking my hip when I go to get around the back. I switch my grips to a seatbelt grip. I lead in with my front knee in towards his hip, and then I take my, like the heavy sag over his shoulder to take his back. So a few steps there, but they're all very controlling and very deliberate. I'm not just ripping, pulling the guy up, flying around, trying to beat him with speed. Rushes, I mean, he was a hell of a lot faster than me this night before we saw him plenty of the rolls. So I'm doing what I can to slow him down and make things difficult for him while I make my moves. And then I think I didn't even go through the whole like straitjacket thing with him here. I think I just managed to get far enough under the chin without having to do the leg trapping and all that to where I could get the rear naked. I think this is where Cole is crushing Caleb's face. I'm so sick of everybody smothering now. Like, it's it's so annoying. I wish Gordon never did that in his match. So we saw Rush is really good here at loading people up from that bottom half guard, attacking that far leg. Let's see if I follow my own advice at any point during this with that ankle grip. There we go. He's keeping me really busy, keeping me off balance, making sure my hands are planted. Reach down again, pulled that hook off. Another case of it. He was so annoying with this ankle grip here, and that one I couldn't get off for the longest time just because he was keeping me off balance the whole time, doing a really great job at applying Kazushi. Is that Danaher approves? I'm gonna take that. Oh, and then, all right, so another instance of standing guard break. We had a stepping back for the knee bar. Probably. Where was the knee bar? Oh, right here. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I've got the hand low on the leg there. I mean, I wouldn't care. I would have done it. Like, I think we may have actually been joking about that, about your role with him. But yeah, in any case, so Standing guard break, another good example of what can go wrong and what can go right. So inside bicep ties, stand up nice and tall. He unlocks, puts me down. He does it on his own terms. I don't care. I immediately pinch my knees. He tries to sit up and it stops him. Plant my feet, hips up, attack the ankles. Doing this really fast. So I pop my hips up to get the ankles. I split the legs. I bring a leg outside and over into cross ashi. Control his leg the whole time and immediately start to set up the inside heel hook. And from there, get the tap. And he immediately asked me, he's like, that was bait, wasn't it? And I gave him the whole spiel that I've given you guys a million times and you guys still don't do it. Do the standing guard break. Let them put you down. It doesn't matter if they do because you have options from there. So I told him it wasn't bait. It's just a really good plan B. And I don't care if I get put down. It was kind of cool to get to do that on him, since all of you guys have either do it or are practicing doing it, or you know that I do it. He hasn't sat through any of our lessons on that stuff, so he didn't necessarily see it coming right away. So I hope that shows you that it works. Oh, Austin's almost in a what is it, figure 4 top lock, like the dead orchard position. I see him almost getting there so much. I know he knows about it. It's just a hard spot to get to. Another kipping escape against Rush here. He's transitioned into mount. Nice and heavy up top. Just framing the hips, wiggling out, trying to get safe. He was really great, though, in not letting me establish control over a leg. I really should have been focusing more on pulling one knee in and setting up like Irimiyashi than like just getting him over and off of me and then like he scrambles away. And then here, I start to cut the angle into a reverse ashi just because I can't get all the way there. But I start to make it around to inside, attacking the far leg, trying to shut down his escape. But I knew time was running out and I didn't want to rip on anything. So what do we got? We got Cole smashing Caleb, Brooke and Brandon going over, I think, body folds. And Austin doing his best to strangle you from every possible angle. Nice counter into we were almost into cross there. I mean, you are in a cross side ashi. It just wasn't like the inside senkaku, inside triangle variation. But whatever. Good stuff today, guys. Really cool. Saw some good open guard playing there, at least a little bit. Even better, saw plenty of closed guard stuff we went over being applied. So you know how happy that always makes me. As far as class for the rest of the week, I'll be teaching class tomorrow as well as Saturday. So show up and put in some good work. I really appreciate it. And any questions you guys have from the stream, bring it into class. We'll talk about it. We'll go over it. We don't have to have death matches all the time. So bring your questions to class. Follow us here. Subscribe here. Give us your Twitch Prime. We really appreciate it. We'll put this up on YouTube. Subscribe over there as well. Thank you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. What else? Sunday, if you got a Flow subscription, Gordon will be facing Felipe Pena. So that's some exciting news. Honestly, I don't think we'll do the stream Sunday night because I'd rather be watching that than doing this stream, if I'm being totally honest. Plus, I've I will have taught 3 times this weekend on the stream already, so I need a break. Tune in to watch Gordon and Felipe. That's going to be a rad match. Definitely. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of stuff we'll talk about, and I'm sure I'll probably get smothered by you guys again after Gordon does it for a while on Penna. In any case, enough talking. You guys go trim your nails and do your laundry, and do not be stinky. And we will see you at class. No stream next Sunday. Take it easy, guys.